بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور
You are a shining light, enlightening everyone's path and guiding us all the way. Ya Rabbi bil Mustafa balligh maqasidana waghfir lana ma madaya wasi'an karami.
Muhammad, may there be peace and blessings on you. May Allah grant you as promised the maqam of Mahmud.
Ya Rabbi bil Mustafa balligh maqasidana waghfir lana ma madaya wasi'an karami. There is no one like you, there is just no one the same. So merciful is your nature and most high is your name. Ya Rabbi bil Mustafa balligh maqasidana waghfir lana ma madaya wasi'an karami. Look at the heavens, the earth, the shining sun and the moon. When Allah made everything, He made it all just for you. Ya Rabbi bil Mustafa balligh maqasidana waghfir lana ma madaya wasi'an karami. The Lord has sworn by the beauty of the curls in your hair, and by the noor on your face, and by the cloth that you wear. Ya Rabbi bil Mustafa balligh maqasidana waghfir lana ma madaya wasi'an karami. Look at Abu Bakr Bakr, Umar, Uthman and Mawla Ali. We love them all as they have spent time in your company.
I share your grief. I share your grief about what's happening in Palestine. But one thing, we are lucky to be in the United Kingdom. They allow us to protest. They allow us to speak our voice, our minds. So once again, free, free, free, free, free, free. Look, we've got to be realistic with one another. We are not about to liberate Palestine here. We are raising awareness about what's happening in Palestine. So one thing that we got to do, we have to remain organized. Let the world see how organized Palestine is. Free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free, Palestine, free, free, Palestine, free, free, Palestine, free, free, Palestine, free, free, Palestine, free, free, Palestine, Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is death under destruction. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! Louder! No justice! No justice! If we see any counter demonstration, our fight is not with them. Our fight is to put political pressure on our government to speak, because the silence is deafening. The silence is deafening. The silence is deafening. And in our hundreds, in our thousands, we are all Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all. In our millions, in our billions, we are all. Say it loud, we are all. We are all. We are all. Free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Bear with me, I'll be with you shortly.
Talk, learn the meaning of that scarf on your neck. Forget Nestle, get Obama, promise Israel 30 billion over the next decade. They're trigger happy and they're crazy. Think about that when you're putting husbands nappies on your. Just with a child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza, Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Block the even from delivering food. They bring in the troops and you won't even glimpse at the news. They make money off the products that we're quick to consume. And it's not simply a question of different views. Forget emotions, this is facts. What I spit is the truth. Ever explain the raw tragedy? It's not a war, they're just murdering more rapidly. And we're automatically supporting your savagery. Imagine how you feel if this was your family. the next. Forget Nestle, get Obama, promise Israel 30 billion over the next decade. They're trigger happy and they're crazy. Think about that when you're putting husbands' nappies on your baby.
Free my people, long live Palestine. We will never let you go.
Sing it with me now. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. It's not just a war over stolen land. Why do you think little boys are throwing stones at tanks? And we'll never be searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine. Long live Gaza. Palestine, Ramallah. West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine. Long live Gaza. They still die when you bomb their schools, mosques and hospitals. It's not because of rockets, please God, can you stop this all? I'm not related to the strangers on the TV, but I relate, cause those strangers could have been me. Palestine, free, free Palestine, free, free Palestine, free, free Palestine, free, free Palestine. Palestine remains in my heart forever. We stand.
Once again, I asked those guys on that side, please come in. When more people will come in, we need them to move over. So many of you will be wondering why I decided to come here anonymous. I came here anonymous, not because I'm shy of cameras, but because it doesn't matter who I am, it matters about the Palestinians. I don't want you to know who I am, I want you to know what I'm here for. Free, free! Free, free! Don't tell me to take my mask off. You know who the Palestinians are? You can't see them, we can't see them, we speak for them. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free!
The war over stolen land.
It's not about names, it's not about faces, it's about the Palestinians. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! It's not about who I am, it's not about who you are, it's about the Palestinians. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea!
I testify my television, televise and telling lies. This is not a war, it is systematic genocide. But whatever they try, Palestine will never die.
Free my people, long live Palestine. We will never let you go.
Sing it with me now.
Free, free!
Palestine,
Free, free!
Palestine,
Free, free!
Palestine,
Free, free!
Palestine,
Free, free!
Palestine,
Free, free!
Palestine, free, free Palestine, free, free Palestine. Palestine, Ramallah,
West Bank, Gaza.
this is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Those strangers could have been me. Words could never ever explain the raw tragedy. It's not a war, they're just murdering more rapidly. And we're automatically supporting pure savagery. Imagine how you feel if this was your family.
Free my people, long live Palestine. We will never let you go.
Sing it with me now. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free!
Palestine.
Free, free! Look, brothers, I'll be honest with you. Words are failing me. Words are failing me. I thought before coming to London tonight, I thought there'll be so much I'll speak to you about. But when I stand here, having had a look at the social media accounts and seeing them small children who have been blasted to bits, honestly, I don't know what I can say to you other than free, free. Words fail me. Words fail me. Words fail us. Our bodies have no strength when we see the injustice that is taking place. That we see the injustice that is taking place in West Bank, in Gaza, in Jerusalem. Is this the 21st century? We're in 2021 and today we're still standing here for the rights of innocent children. Children who are born into poverty. In 2012, when they conducted a research program, they came to a realization that more than 50% of Gaza is living under the poverty line. What can I say to you? What can I say to you other than what's happening should not be happening in a modern world? What can I say to you? What can I say to you other than the fact that children do not deserve this? What can I say to you other than the fact that women should not have to fear for their children? What can I say to you other than... What can I say to you? It's difficult to continuously speak for the Palestinians without tears rolling down my eyes. It's difficult to continue to talk to you whilst knowing what's happening in Gaza. Gaza, a small strip of land with 2 million people, men, women and children. Their crime, what is their crime? Their crime is that they were born in Gaza. They were born in an occupation. They were born in the midst of injustice. That's their crime. Yo, please, get off the road if you can. They will shut the protest down. Get off the road. They will shut the protest down. Get off the road. Yo, everybody, can we move on to that side? The will shut the protest down. Let's move on to that side.
I'm not related to the strange TE, but I relate so straight to me. Words could never ever explain the raw tragedy. It's not a war, it's just murder with more rapidly.
Let's move on to that side, please. They will shut the protest down. Let's go on to that side. They will shut the protest down. Come on, brothers. Let's go on to that side.
Sing it with me now. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. Palestine remains in our heart forever. We stand for peace, hands in war. We shan't surrender. Remember, it didn't start in this dark December. Every coin is a bullet if your Marks and Spencer. And when you're sipping Coca-Cola, that's another pistol in the holster of the soulless soldiers. You say you know about the Zionist lobby, but you put money in their check king. They're trigger happy and they're crazy. Keep about that when you're putting out the nappies on your face. Sing it with me now. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. It's not just a war over stolen land. Why do you think little boys are throwing stones at tanks? And we'll never really know how many people are dead. They drop bombs on innocent girls while they sleep in their bed. Don't get offended by facts, just try and listen. Nothing is more anti-Semitic than Zionism. So please don't bring bad vibes when you speak to me. There's plenty of free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free the war over stolen land. Why do you think little boys are throwing stones at tanks? And we'll never really know how many people are dead. They drop bombs on innocent girls while they sleep in their bad vibes that agree with me. It's your choice what you do with this message. Don't get confused. I'll do this with you with perspective. How many more resolutions have to be violated? How many more children have to be annihilated? How many Israel is a terror state? They're terrorists that terrorize. I'll testify my television, televise and telling lies. This is not a war, it is systematic genocide. But whatever they try, Palestine will never die.
Once again,
sing it with me now.
free
Palestine,
free
Palestine,
free
Palestine,
free
Palestine,
free
Palestine,
free
Palestine,
free
Palestine,
free
Palestine.
Once again, we're here to raise political awareness about the state of the Palestinians, about the mass murder, about the massacre of innocent women, of children. Over 40% of those that have died, those have been massacred in Palestine. Right now, is over 40% is women and children. What kind of justice is this? What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? Look guys, Boris Johnson is probably still asleep. We gotta wake him up. We gotta wake him up. We gotta make sure that he hears our voices. So I say, what do we want? I can't hear you, just pause louder.
Choose me by ignorance.
What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? What do we want it? What do we want it? What do we want it? Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! We're gonna get
Sing it with me now. Free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. Palestine remains in our heart forever. We stand for peace, hand in war. We shan't surrender. Remember, it didn't start in this dark December. Every coin is a bullet if your Marks and Spencer.
and you guys come on this side. Can you come on this side?
They're crazy. Keep about that when you're putting up his nappies on the baby. drop bombs on innocent girls while they sleep in their bed. Don't get offended by facts, please don't bring bad vibes when you speak to me. There's plenty of bad vibes that agree with me. It's your choice what you do with this message. Don't get it confused, our duties from a human perspective. How many more resolutions have
We have gone that big, and now we are going to see the road of work.
we never die. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Palestine, Ramallah, respect Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. This is for Palestine, Ramallah. This is for the child that is searching for the answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Palestine, Ramallah, respect Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for the answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine. While we listen to tunes made by ignorant fools, Israel blocked the UN from delivering food. They bring in the troops and you won't even glimpse at the news. For the strangers on the TV, but I relate. The strangest thing of being me. Words can never ever explain the raw tragedy. It's not avoidance, murdering more rapidly. I'm weird, automatically supporting pure savagery. Imagine how you feel if this was your family. And when you're sipping Coca-Cola, that's another pistol in the holster with the soul of soldiers. You say you know about your Zionist lobby, but you got money in their pocket when you're buying their coffee. Talking about revolution sitting in Starbucks. The fact is, after thinking I can't trust, let alone even start to respect. Before you talk, learn the meaning of that scarf on your neck. Forget Nestle, get Obama, promise Israel 30 billion over the next decade. They're trigger happy and they're crazy. Think about that when you're putting hundreds nappies on your face. Sing it with me now. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free. Okay, they drop bombs on innocent girls while they sleep in their bed. Don't get offended by facts, just try and listen. Nothing is more anti-Semitic than Zionism. So please don't bring bad vibes when you speak to me. There's plenty of bad vibes that agree with me. It's your choice what you do with this message. Don't get it confused. Our views from a human perspective. How many more resolutions have to be violated? How many more children have to be annihilated? Israel is a terror state. They're terrorists that terrorize. I testify my television, televised and telling lies. This is not a war, it is systematic genocide. But whatever they try, Palestine will never die. Sing it with me now. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Palestine, Ramallah, respect Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Palestine, Ramallah, respect Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. From their schools, mosques and hospitals, it's not because of rockets, please God, never stop the soon. I'm not related to the strangers on the TV, but I'm right. Those strangers gonna be me. Words could never explain the war tragedy. It's not a war, they're just murdering more rapidly. And we're automatically supporting pure savagery. Imagine how you feel if this was your family. Before you talk, learn the meaning of that stuff with your next. Forget Nestle, your Obama promised Israel 30 billion over the next decade. They're trigger happy and they're crazy. Think about that when you're putting husbands' nappies on your baby. Sing it with me now. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free. Why do you think little boys are throwing stones at tanks? And we'll never really know how many.
Once again, I welcome you on behalf of the organisers to today's protest and demonstration in the name of those children who have no voice. We are the voice of the voiceless. We are the voice of the voiceless. Say, we are the voice of the voiceless. We are the voice of the voiceless. We are the voice of the voiceless. We are the voice of the voiceless.
I testify on television, televising, telling lies. This is not a war, it is systematic genocide. But whatever they try, Palestine will never die. Palestine, free, free Palestine, free, free Palestine, free, free Palestine. Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza. Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine, long live Gaza.
The mic was hold it.
This is for Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child that is searching for an answer. Wish I could take your tears and replace them with laughter. Long live Palestine. Gaza, Palestine, Ramallah, West Bank, Gaza. This is for the child. Even glimpse at the news, they make money off the products that we're quick to consume. And it's not simply a question of differing views. Forget emotions, this is facts, what I spit is the truth. Makes no difference if you're a Christian or if you're a Jew. They're just people living in different conditions to you. They still die when you go to schools, mosques and hospitals. It's not because of rockets, please God, can you stop the soul? I'm not related to the strangers on the TV, but I relate, those strangers could have been me. Words could never ever explain the raw tragedy. It's not a war, they're just murdering more rapidly. And we're automatically supporting pure savagery. Imagine how you feel if this was your family. Sing it with me now. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Palestine remains in my heart forever. We stand for peace, times of war. We shan't surrender. Remember, it didn't start in this dark December. Every coin is a bullet if you're Marks and Spencer. And when you're sipping Coca-Cola, that's another put money in their pocket with your buying the poverty. Talking about what we used to see in the start.
Right guys, we need to have a few house rules and then I'll start inviting the speakers on. Yo brothers, these guys, look, I welcome you to be the voice of the voiceless. I welcome you all to be the voice of the Palestinians. What we're here for today, the truth is, Israel won a long time ago. We are not about to liberate Palestine. It's a fact. Can you hear me? Yeah. We are not about to liberate Palestine. What we can do is put pressure, political pressure, on our government to speak up. That's why we're here. And look, I've got to be honest with you. I'm a proud Brit. I'm a British Muslim, and I am proud of that. This country has given us the right to protest for Palestine in the midst of a pandemic. So this country is not our enemy, this is our country. Now, the police, I'll be honest with you, I have been liaising with them for the last 3 hours. The only space that we had is the space in front of me. But the space that we now have is the space in front of me, the pavement and the road outside Downing Street. What more can we expect from the police? They have accommodated us. Now look, let me be honest with you. If the police were assholes, then they would have battered us. They would have battered us like they do in Israel. The police are just doing their job. We have to raise political awareness. We cannot damage. You have no right to damage the name of Palestine. You have no right to damage the name of Al-Aqsa. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Those on the left, only. Free, free! On the right, free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Everyone together, free, free! Free, free! Look, let's be honest. Boris Johnson is still asleep. It's a Sunday. We gotta wake him up. We gotta make sure that he can hear us. We gotta make sure that next time he attends Parliament, Palestine is at the top of the agenda. So say it loud. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! No justice! No peace! No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! No justice! The United Nations was set up to intervene. The United Nations was set up to intervene in circumstances like this. I say, where is the United Nations? Why are they not intervening? Why are they not helping the Palestinians? Where are the voices of the world? Why are we not hearing from the media? I say, this is double standard. I say, the United States. You understand why I did that? I swore that I made sure that the kids don't hear. Bias, that's what I said about the BBC.
BBC bullshit for the corruption.
Now, just a few things.
Hang on, the skies are here.
Just a few things. We are not anti-Semitic. I've heard in the crowd some anti-Semitic slurs. Today, I am told by the organizers that we have a rabbi coming to support us. If we have a rabbi to support the Palestinian cause, it makes it quite clear that this is not about anti-Semitism, this is about human rights violation. Now think about it. All night, last night, all night, the night before, and the night before, we saw small babies being blasted, entire families being massacred. This is an occupation. This is a massacre. This is an occupation and a massacre, and we want an end to this injustice. Free, free! Free, free! And you know what? Today's organization, this demonstration, when you go home, you've not done anything. There should be a seed here for it to grow and flourish. When you go back, then forget about your bloody politics. Before you vote, think about who you're voting for. Ask them what they think about the Palestinians. Viva, viva! Viva, viva! When you go to the voting box, when you vote for Palestine. Don't vote for the uncle next door. Vote for Palestine. What do you vote for? Palestine. What do you vote for? Palestine. I'm going to be honest with you. If we voted for Palestine and Kashmir, if we voted for humanity, we could have made a dent. But you know what? When we come to organizations and demonstrations like this, we remember the Palestinians. But when it comes to voting, we forget all about Kashmir. We forget all about Palestine. If you are going to be true to the cause, make a difference on the ballot box. You can do this. In our hundreds, in our thousands, we are all. In our millions, in our billions, we are all. Say it loud. In our millions, in our billions, we are all. Look, I decided to be anonymous today. I decided to be anonymous because this is not about me. This is not about you. It's about the children who are being massacred. What use is it if you know who I am? What use is it if you know my name? Because we don't know the names of the Palestinian children who are dying. We don't know the names of the pregnant women who are being killed. We don't know the name of the men who are battered in Masjid al-Aqsa. Do we? No. Do we? No. So why do you need to know about who I am and who the people next to you are? From now, I am a Palestinian. From now, I will be Palestinian in my identity. From now, you will be Palestine. From now, you will be Palestinian. From now, you will think about the Palestinians who are being butchered and massacred. We need to be organized. The world's media are here. They need to understand that these Palestinians are serious. Malcolm X said, before we can do anything, organize the people. Organize the people. Free, free! Free, free! Now, I'm going to invite the first speaker. I am told that George Galloway is also on his way, a prominent and a prevalent figure within the Palestinian fight for freedom, end to occupation, end to brutality, end to massacre. So I will invite the first speaker. I don't know who he is. I've just been given this list. You can see it. First speaker is Harun Raza.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today I have not come to deliver a message. Inshallah, the scholars and the speakers who will come, they will deliver their messages. But I have only come from Birmingham to come and to make this city of London, to make the people of the UK, and for these trees, for every raindrop which falls, we want the raindrops to testify, and every tree to testify that when our brothers and sisters were being massacred in Gaza, we did not have the opportunity to go to Palestine and
Imagine for a moment. Imagine on the 24th of December. On the 24th of December, in Vatican City, the police and armed forces came in and raided a church. Imagine that took place. Are you with me? You with the example, right? Yes. Imagine on the 24th of December, the armed forces raided the Vatican City, a church in the Vatican City. The entire world would have been on fire. The entire world would have raised a voice. The entire world would have came out in their masses to show the injustice that takes place on the 24th of December, a night before Christmas. Imagine armed forces raided a church in the Vatican. The Prime Minister of every country would have stood up in solidarity and they would have raised their voices. Members of the public would have come out onto the streets to raise their voices. The media, the newspapers would have printed, they would have continued to print until the ink ran out. But what happened in Masjid al-Aqsa? What happened in Al-Aqsa? Nobody spoke up. No world leader came out. There was no one. There was no one for those peaceful worshippers in the last few days of Ramadan. Nobody raised a voice. Nobody said a word. Is this not hypocrisy? Is this not hypocrisy? Not justice. Not justice. Not justice. Not justice. They burn our trees. They burn our houses. They throw us out of our lands. They kill our children. They torture us. They desecrate the sanctity of our mosques. What was our crime? That we were born Palestinian. And a week before they raided Al-Aqsa, they raided a church, innocent nuns, innocent Christians, they even raided their church and threw them out. This is an occupation. What is it? This is a... Come on guys, Boris Johnson can't hear you. This is a... This is a... 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. Say it louder. We're in London, not Blackburn. They can hear us. This is where they make the decisions. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation no more. How can you have an occupation yet demand justice? No, sorry, peace. If somebody came into your house and threw you, your children, your wife, your family, your elderly parents out of your house and then said this guy's not peaceful, that's mad. What happened in Masjid al-Aqsa? It was after the Israelis evicted Palestinians from their homes in Sheikh Jarrah. Where from? Sheikh? Say it louder because they're not printing this. Sheikh? Sheikh? Sheikh? They evicted people from Sheikh Jarrah. So what did the Palestinians do? On the final nights of Ramadan, they decided to walk and stand and demonstrate like you guys. And what did the Israeli forces do in return? They beat them. They beat them. They desecrated the sanctity of a mosque. Unreasonable force was used against Article 51 of the Geneva Convention. They beat them. They broke the windows of Al-Aqsa. They threw the worshippers out. Who remembers Notre Dame? When Notre Dame burnt down, the entire world stood up in support. The entire world stood up to pledge to repair Notre Dame. Al-Aqsa is almost 100 years older than Notre Dame. Who's pledging support? Who is standing up and pledging support? Which country is there to replace the windows? Which leader is there to sort the mosque out after they desecrated it? Is this not injustice? Is this not hypocritical? We have to become organized in order to raise a voice or two. Don't go back to your cars today and forget about Palestine. Imagine your children and your daughters and your sons were in the midst of an occupation. You would do whatever it takes to raise a voice. You would do whatever it takes to raise a voice. We live in the best democracy in this world, the United Kingdom. The reason for why they're not listening to you is because we're not organized. When you will become organized, they will listen to you. When you start raising the voice of Palestine besides ego, and when you become anonymous for the sake of Palestine, that's when they will listen to you. Not justice! Not justice! Not justice! I'm going to invite the next speaker. Soon George Galloway will be here, and I'll invite him straight onto the stage. The next speaker is the organizer of this event. Him, along with his friends from Bradford, organized this event. They asked me to attend yesterday, and I'm here. The response to that is, we will never let you drive. Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry! Louder! Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry! From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! In our hundreds, in our thousands, we are all. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all. In our millions, in our billions, we are all. And lastly, I know most of you are British. I need to stress that we don't want any arrests today. Can you imagine tomorrow? The violent Palestinians and their supporters desecrated Downing Street, 10 arrested. We don't want that. Are you in agreement? Yes. We're here for Palestine. Yes. We don't want that. We don't want it. And the next thing that I mentioned before Raz comes on. Hi, George. Oh, George is there. Oh, all right, let's get George on. But before I call George, because we're British, I say, whose street? Whose street? Whose street? Whose street? Whose street? Whose street? Whose street? Whose street? You see them guys in uniform, they're our police as well. You see these buildings, they're our buildings as well. How we make a difference is through democracy, and that's what we're here for today. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Not justice! Not justice! Not justice! Well, George Galloway has no idea who I am, but I know who he is. He won't find out who I am today. I invite right, change your plan again. We are now going to invite...
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! You know what, George Galloway is coming up next. I don't know why I'm up here, but he's coming. You all know him, he's passionate about this cause as well. So should you be. You and I should all be passionate about the Palestinian cause. This issue, the land of Al-Aqsa doesn't just belong to the Palestinians, it belongs to the Ummah of the beloved Prophet Muhammad. That's you and I. So people, you and I need to wake up. It's time you and I woke up. I'm not a speaker, I don't have to speak. We know what Allah has the passion to speak for the people of Palestine. And you and I will speak for the people of Palestine. First demonstration, it's my first demonstration, but it's definitely not the last one. It's not our last demo. This is the first of many. You know what, people, this wasn't a party. We haven't invited you guys on a wedding. We haven't invited you guys to come here and chill out and just sing it. Go back. That's your who want to go back. The reason being here today was to stand shoulder to shoulder with our Palestinian brothers that are suffering in Palestine right now. Today was about standing united in solidarity with our brothers that are suffering in Palestine right now. They need your help, they need your support. And remember, right now it's not about the donations. Right now the Palestinians don't want your donations. They want you and I to stand shoulder to shoulder, together, united in solidarity for those that are suffering. So make some noise, people. Don't stop chanting. You need to make noise. You need to make noise for the Palestinians so they can hear you. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Before we invite George Galloway on, let's make some noise. Free, free! Free, free! Louder! Free, free! Sing it! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Oh, come on, guys. Boris Johnson is still asleep. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Not justice! Not justice! Not justice! Not justice! Not justice! Not justice! Louder! Not justice! Not justice! Not Galloway!
Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
अगर अरब ममालिक मुस्लिम ममालिक कहलाते हैं, एक साथ मुत्तहिद होकर अपनी ताकत का इस्तेमाल करें तो इजराइल एक हफ्ते का मेहमान है। लेकिन अब सबसे ज्यादा अफसोस की बात यह है कि वो हरम मक्का और हरम मदीना, हरमैन शरीफैन, सऊदी अरब, उसका हुक्मरान यमन पर मिसाइल पे मिसाइल मार सकता है, मुसलमानों पर मिसाइल बरसा सकता है, लेकिन उस सऊदी अरब के किसी हुक्मरान में ये जुर्रत नहीं कि वो इजराइल पर भी एक मिसाइल मार सके।
Which threatened the Prophet Abraham. Someone asked the bird, "What are you doing with this beak full of water? How can you fight this fire?" And the bird answered, "I know, but I have to be able to tell God that I did what I could." That is what you are doing here today. You're doing what you can. It is small, but it will be heard in Gaza, in Jerusalem, in Palestine, all of Palestine, all over the world. Here we are at the seat of British government, and while we acknowledge that the British government was one of those that voted to demand a ceasefire, only the United States voted against that. The British government knows better than anyone else, as it was the British government that caused the Palestinian disaster in the first place, when Mr. Balfour, on behalf of one people, promised to a second people the land that belonged to a third people. The British government knows more than anyone else that without justice there will never be peace in Israel, Palestine, in the Middle East, or indeed further afield. We say no justice, no peace, but the corollary of that is with justice there will be peace. With justice there can be peace. With justice there must be peace. And in that spirit, I want all of us to acknowledge here today and to salute the brave Jewish heroes that are standing up against this massacre in Gaza, this massacre in Palestine. Brave Jewish heroes in Britain, in the United States, and in Israel itself. One of them I have on my show tonight, Gideon Levy, the foremost Israeli journalist who has been the clearest voice anywhere in the world against the mass murder of the Palestinians in Gaza. Now, some of you know, because some of you convoyed with me to Gaza over and over again, breaking the siege over the last 14 years or more, that this little effort that we make, when it's made by millions, makes a difference. I can already see the difference between this massacre and previous massacres. We now have heroes like the Leicester City footballers who on their cup final day, when they had every right to be proud of themselves, hoisted the flag of Palestine at Wembley Stadium on the pitch in front of the FA Cup. We have many such heroes now. Zayn Malik and many others. We have people in Hollywood, people in Broadway, people in top football roles. Mo Salah, Paul Pogba. We have many who are ready to raise our flag and raise this cost. But the supporters of the massacre are few and far between. Fewer than they have ever been and farther than they have ever been. So we are winning this battle of ideas that is going on around the world. It's simple, you know. It's like football. It's really very simple. The land of Palestine was stolen by a colonial apartheid project. Millions of Palestinians have been scattered to every corner of the globe, but they will never give up their right to return to their land, to their homes, to their orchards, to their fruit trees, and if it takes generation after generation, they will never surrender. Mr. Churchill along there in his statue was famous for that phrase. And he did not surrender. But anyone who is imagining that the Palestinian people will ever surrender their rights knows better now. After all that's happened these last few days, After all that's happened these last few years, these last few decades, this last half century and more, it is abundantly clear that the Palestinian people will never surrender. And as long as 100 of them remain alive, we will stand with them and do whatever we can to come to their aid. My last words are these. I cannot forswear these words. I must say them. Those Arab rulers belly dancing for the Americans and for Netanyahu need to hang their heads in shame at what is happening to the Palestinian people. Almost all of them would have been fasting over these last weeks. Almost all of them would have been celebrating the Eid. Do they think that God is blind? Do they think God cannot see that they are less than that little bird which tried to extinguish the fire that was consuming the Prophet Abraham? The judgment day comes for us all. Judge yourselves before ye are judged. Judge yourself, your silence. Ask yourself, what will you say when you are asked? What did you do when the fire was consuming the children in Gaza in 2021? You at least will say, men and women of the north of England, that you got into your cars and you came here to London to bear witness not just to the slaughter but to the courage of the Palestinian people. They used to say that Palestinians fought like heroes. Now they say heroes fight like Palestinians. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George Galloway, a prevalent and a prominent speaker and warrior in the name of Palestine. Now look, I know a lot of you are feeling passionate about the cause. For the last 10 years, I have done nothing but stand up for the rights of the Palestinians, for the rights of the Kashmiris, for the rights of the persecuted around the world. I know all too well how it feels to be muzzled. I know all too well how it feels, the frustration, the anger, the annoyance. I know how it feels. But we have to be savvy. It's one thing I've learned in my years speaking up for Palestine. It's this: they don't give a shit about you. It's true. Until you get organized, until you remember what land you're on. We choose to be here. We were born here. we choose to remain here. So then we have to use the democratic process in order to make a change. Do you feel me? Some of you might think that this is a Muslim issue. Some of you may believe it, others might not. There may be Christians who believe that it's a Christian issue, others might not. Some might believe it's a humanitarian issue, others might believe it's a conspiracy. But one thing I ask you, that a lot of you, I can see, are Muslim. You are only a few percentage in this country. You are 3.6 million out of over 60 million people. So make sure that your actions don't lead to Islamophobia. Make sure that your actions don't mean that your women are no longer safe on the streets. We have a duty. Are you with me? There's some brothers on the side, they have images of someone that this country has labelled as an extremist. I have nothing against anybody, but I will tell you one thing. The world media will pick it up and you will see Islamophobia rise and your women will no longer be safe on these streets. Be careful about what you do. This is not Pakistan. This is 65 million people in this country, and out of them only 3.6 million are Muslims. You cannot protect yourselves, never mind your daughters, never mind your sisters. Think politically. Think. How can we allow extremism to come into the United Kingdom? Free! Louder! Viva! I'd like to invite the next speaker, a speaker from Friends of Al-Aqsa. Yesterday we had over 150,000 people. I have a young participant called Imam Adil who will come and recite a small poem in the name of Palestine. Imam Adil.
This is a poem written by a Palestinian girl a couple of years ago, and yet in 2021 her words still apply. Look into my eyes and tell me what you see. You don't see a thing, because you can't relate to me. You're blinded by our differences. My life makes no sense to you. I'm the persecuted Palestinian, and you're the American red, white and blue. Each day you wake in tranquility, no fears to cross your eyes. Each day I wake in gratitude, thanking God he let me rise. You worry about your education and the bills you have to pay. I worry about my vulnerable life and if I'll survive another day. Your biggest fear is getting a ticket as you cruise your Cadillac. My biggest fear is that the tank that has just left will turn around and come back. American, do you realize that the taxes that you pay feed the forces that traumatize my every living day? The bulldozers and the tanks, the gases and the guns, the bombs that fall outside my door, all due to your funds. Yet do you know the truth of where your money goes? Do you let your media deceive your mind? Is this a truth that no one knows? You blame me for defending myself against the ways of the Zionists. I'm terrorizing my own land and I'm the terrorist? You think you know all about terrorism? but you don't know what it the way I do, so let me define the term for you and teach you what you thought you knew. I've known terrorism for quite some time, 54 years and more. It's the fruitless garden uprooted in my yard. It's the bulldozers in front of my door. Terrorism breathes the air I breathe. It's the checkpoint on my way to school. It's the curfew that jails me when I'm in my home, and the penalties of breaking that curfew rule. Terrorism is the robbery of my land and the torture of my mother, the imprisonment of my innocent father, the bullet in my baby brother. So America, don't tell me you know about the things I feel and see. I'm terrorized in my own land and the blame is put on me. But I will not rest, I shall never settle for the injustice my people endure. Palestine is our land and there will remain until the day our homeland is secure. And if that time shall never come, then you will never see a day of peace. I will not be thrown from my home, nor will my fight for justice cease. And if I am killed, it will be in Palestine. It's written on my every breath. So in your own patriotic words, give me liberty or give me death. Thank you.
Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! Guys, if you think the Gazans can't see you, you're wrong. People in Gaza can see you. Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, don't you cry! I'd like to invite the next speaker, Suhail Ahmed Qadri. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذرياته أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Brothers and sisters, we are here on Whitehall demonstrating for Palestine. And Alhamdulillah, even though it's raining, we have turned out in our thousands. And Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed each and every single one of you with the energy and the drive and the passion to come out here and demonstrate for your brothers and sisters in Palestine. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Alhamdulillah, our brothers and sisters are fighting with valor and are fighting in Palestine for their existence. They are fighting for their survival. When they see images of you around the world, their brothers and sisters standing up and supporting them, they are further empowered with power and with further valor and excitement that inshallah ta'ala we will be freed. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free! Imam Asim and Imam Adil have gone there with passion, have gone there with drive, have gone there with full of love, courage and strength to show the Palestinian brothers that our solidarity is with you, and many of you have continued to support them, and inshallah ta'ala we will continue to support them. Free, free!
may face injustice, but this man standing here, I have spent 3 nights in an Israeli prison. Imam Adil is a witness to this, and so is Imam Asim. 3 nights, and that is just a taste of what the brothers in Palestine feel day in, day out. They may be in their homes, they may be sitting with their families, but they are in prison, the world's largest open prison. They need to be freed! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Nara Takbir! Nara Risalah! Nara Risalah! Nara Risalah!
Yeah, sorry, leave me because it was better than here.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Look, once again, I announced it at the start of this demonstration that Israel won almost a decade ago. We're not going to win against Israel any longer. It's a fact. Let's become realists. But one thing we're here for today is to ask the leaders of the world to stop the death and destruction. Immediate stop to the death and destruction. We want no more children to die. We want no more women to die. We want no more men to die. Stop the death. Stop the destruction. Stop the massacre. Hold Israel to account. Hold them to account. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Free, free. Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry. You know the problem is that when you see the images of young babies blown to bits, when you see the images of young babies blown to bits, words fail you. Words fail you. When you hear about an entire family that has been killed, words fail you. The world has failed Palestinians. The world has failed Palestine. And I say it to you again, if you want to make a difference, then ask your MPs, not ask, demand your MPs to raise a voice and demand justice for the Palestinians. Beyond that, we can't do anything. Next time you vote, don't vote for the uncle next door. Next time you vote, don't vote based on caste or camaraderie. Next time you vote, become a Palestinian and vote. Who's with me? In our hundreds, in our thousands, we are all Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all. In our millions, in our billions, we are all. We are all. We are all. I'd like to invite, I am told the next speaker is an Imam Adil, onto the stage and deliver a message of peace, a message of justice for a few minutes.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Honorable and respectable elders, brothers and sisters from around the UK, lovable youngsters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and applaud the efforts of the organizers of this peaceful, democratic protest here outside 10 Downing Street. But more importantly, I want to acknowledge and applaud the efforts of each and every one of you. Those who have come from Middlesborough, Blackburn, Nelson, Burnley, Bradford, Birmingham, Bolton, Woking, Luton, from around the country. The weather hasn't deterred you. Traveling to London hasn't deterred you. Because each and every one of us stands united with the Palestinian brothers and sisters. Each and every one of us stands in solidarity with the brothers and sisters in Gaza. And each and every one of us stands shoulder to shoulder with those who are suffering atrocities in the West Bank. And our being here today isn't just for the Palestinian brothers and sisters and the children of Palestine who have been brutally tortured and murdered through the Zionist terrorist regime of Israel. But we also here stand today in solidarity with the Uyghur Muslims in China. We stand in solidarity with those who are suffering in Indian-occupied Kashmir. And we stand in solidarity with all human beings who have been oppressed and who are suffering from east to west. For this isn't about a Muslim cause, but what this is about is humanity. And humanity rises above all. Each and every one of us stand here united, raising our voices for the humans who are suffering around the world. But most certainly, we stand shoulder to shoulder, as we have seen and witnessed in Toronto, in Madrid, in Sydney, in Paris, yesterday here in London, just over 100,000 protesters, in Glasgow, in New York, around the world. We stand shoulder to shoulder with the Palestinians. If you agree, repeat after me: free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free. The double standards and the hypocrisy of the so-called leaders of the free world is shocking and alarming. You cannot choose whose human rights matter more and whose human rights do not matter. You can't turn a blind eye when it comes to Muslim lives, because Muslim lives matter. You can't turn a blind eye to what's happening to the Palestinians, because Palestinians' lives matter. And you can't turn a blind eye to the 3 million Uyghur Muslims in China who are suffering in this moment of time. And you can't say that we accept such and such, but we don't accept such and such. The double standards and hypocrisy of these so-called leaders of the free world is shocking and alarming. Understand and know that we are at a pivotal point in the history of humanity. Future generations will look back in disbelief and wonder how we allowed the Palestinians to suffer for as long as they have suffered. 73 years and counting. A human tragedy and massacre is unfolding right in front of our eyes. Where are the United Nations leaders? Where are the leaders of the Muslim world? Where are the Arab states? Where are the proponents of free speech? Why turn a blind eye? Reality is this, that today we are the voice of the voiceless. Today we stand united with our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Understand and know that mass genocide, ethnic cleansing, and children innocently losing their lives, state terror, banning of freedom of press and speech, whilst disturbing the peace of muqtadis and worshippers in Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa on the 25th night of Ramadan and during the final nights of the blessed month. This is unacceptable and it is uncalled for. As the host mentioned, if this very same incident was to happen at the Vatican in Rome, there would be an outcry from world leaders. If this very same incident, where the peace of a place of worship was disturbed, was to happen at a leading synagogue in Europe, there would be outcry from the world. But we find that unfortunately, these so-called leaders of the free world turn a blind eye. So the choice is ours, whether we want to be on the right side of history or whether we want to be on the wrong side of history. This is why my message is simple and clear. Keep the momentum going. Keep the pressure on. There is growing condemnation of Zionist Israeli government who are continuing their ethnic cleansing by taking the lives of innocent Palestinians. Some are condemning by signing petitions. Well done to you. Others are condemning, like we are today, in a peaceful, democratic way, through protests and demonstrations. Well done to each and every one of you. Whilst others, such as these so-called world leaders, are posting their empty words on social media, each and every one of us has a part to play. Each and every one of us has a right to raise our voice for the voiceless. But as Muslims, we have a greater role that Allah Almighty outlines in the Quran when He says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Allah Almighty says, surely the Almighty does not change the condition of a group of people, does not change the condition of a nation until those people begin to change themselves. And this ties in very nicely with the greater form of struggle and striving, Yani al-Akbar, which is overcoming our whims and desires and making them subservient to the will of the Almighty and His beloved Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is why the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Al-Mujahidu man jahada nafsahu fi ta'atillah. We need to struggle and strive against our own whims and desires. What can't happen and what we condemn is irresponsible youngsters revving cars, blocking traffic and being a nuisance. We need to be mentally, physically and spiritually prepared so that we can take that step towards the greater struggle. And that will be one day to liberate Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. That will be one day to liberate the oppressions that the Palestinians are suffering and to liberate the suffering of all of the Muslims around the world. This is why, my young brothers and sisters, my message is that we are consistent in our 5 daily prayers. Today's protest, like I've started, I will end. I salute each and every one of you. I applaud your efforts. You've sacrificed your time. You've sacrificed your money. You've sacrificed your health by standing in the rain. And you know what my Iman tells me? Allah Almighty Jalla wa Ala is sending down the rain as a sign of acceptance of your being here today. This is Allah's mercy upon us. Allah's mercy upon us. This is why it's important that we understand our role and responsibility. That when we go back to our towns and cities, when we go back to our homes, that we become true practicing Muslims, that we occupy our masajid for the Fajr Salah. Leading Jewish rabbi of Europe in 2010, he said, we do not fear the Muslims. We'll only fear the Muslims when their Salatul Fajr in the masjid is as busy as the Salatul Jumu'ah. This is why the struggle starts from here. The struggle starts within. We can't be irresponsible. We can't be immature. We represent our brothers and sisters who are struggling around the world. How do we represent them? Through our actions, through our akhlaq, through our character and conduct. This is why continue with your daily recitation of the Quran. Send plenty of Durood Sharif upon the Prophet ﷺ, and keep making dua. Ad-du'a'u silahul mu'min. The dua that we make is a weapon of the believer. This is our Iman. I end upon these words. I end upon these words. That as Muslims, our loyalty lies to Allah and His Rasul. As Muslims, our loyalty lies to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And as Muslims, our loyalty, keyword, lies with the Palestinian brothers and sisters. This is why when it comes to the honor of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there is no compromise. And when it comes to the blood of the Palestinians, there is no compromise. We are seeing that this movement has started. This movement will only get greater and stronger. I stand outside 10 Downing Street and I outright condemn those individuals who have disrespected our Prophet by drawing cartoons and caricatures about him. I outright condemn those individuals who are playing their part in a bigger game against Islam. My brothers and sisters, our loyalty only lies with Allah and His Rasul. This is why our nara, our slogan, mine and yours, is only one nara and slogan. Labbaik, Labbaik, Labbaik Ya Rasulallah. Labbaik, Labbaik, Labbaik Ya Rasulallah. Labbaik, Labbaik, Labbaik Ya Rasulallah. Mazani idea. This is an ideal opportunity. We talk about that we don't have a right in this country. Each and every one of you has a right now. Nobody stay silent. Each and every one of you take part. Labbaik, Labbaik, Labbaik Ya Rasulallah. Labbaik, Labbaik, Labbaik Ya Rasulallah. Labbaik, Labbaik, Labbaik Ya Rasulallah. Tajdar Khatm Nabuwwat. If I fall here, that's it. But I will know that I die upon Iman. Each and every one of you respond by saying Zindabad. We don't have any loyalty to the Dushmanan of Islam. Our loyalty lies with Allah and His Rasul. Tajdar Khatm Nabuwwat. Tajdar Khatm Nabuwwat. Tajdar Khatm Nabuwwat. Labbaik, Labbaik, Labbaik Ya Rasulullah. Labbaik, Labbaik.
Beautiful.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! And I feel I love Islam. I love my Prophet. There is no deity greater than Allah. I bow in front of nobody but His Highness. But let me ask you a question. Seriously, let me ask you a question. Coming in the middle of Downing Street, in the middle of London, if we are going to chant in a language that they don't understand, how are we going to make a difference? How are we going to make a difference? How are we going to make a difference? The language of this country is English. The country is mainly secular. Why can't we use their system to make a difference? Why can't we? When the media, look, let me be honest with you. There was 2 or 3 members of parliament that were to arrive here at this demonstration today. But they have seen some videos that goes against our cause. Do you understand me? They have seen some videos that go against our cause and they fail to turn up. We can come in our millions, but if we don't have our elected members of parliament here, then how the fuck are we going to make a difference? Do you not think that we bleed? Do you not think that we care? Yesterday, there was 150,000 people for Philistine. The majority of them people were non-Muslim. Let me invite the organizer of yesterday, where over 150,000 people came on the streets of London without incident. The entire world reported on it. Gaza spoke about it. Let me invite Friends of Al-Aqsa, a member of Friends of Al-Aqsa. Brother, forgive me, I've got a really weak memory. I can't remember your name. But let me be honest, we have to make friends to make political difference. And the only way we're going to do that is speak a language that the entire nation can understand. Wallahi, I speak the truth. I do not lie to you. I am telling you the truth. May God strike me with lightning if I am being anything other than speak the truth. May He strike me with lightning right now. If I lie to you, may He strike me with lightning. But I'm telling you, 5% of this population, Muslim, will make no difference to Palestine. They will make no difference to Palestine. I invite the organizer of yesterday's demonstration, Friends of Al-Aqsa.
Oh my gosh, Assalamu alaikum. As a Londoner, welcome to London. So I presume, let me just check. Who's from London, make some noise? Some Londoners, yeah? Who's from Blackburn, make some noise? Welcome. Apologies for my voice, it's gone, it's completely tanked from yesterday. Yesterday it kicked off a little bit, yeah, there's a lot of passion, and there should be. People are angry. But yesterday was Nakba, 15th of May. Who knows what the Nakba is? The catastrophe. It was 73 years since the Nakba, the catastrophe, when 750,000 Palestinians were made homeless. They were made refugees when Israel was created. So that is commemorated. But brothers and sisters, the Nakba is continuing. The Nakba is ongoing. It hasn't stopped. The ethnic cleansing is going. A genocide is taking place in Gaza. So what's happening right now? Just a quick rundown. From halfway in Ramadan, we've seen false expulsions, no evictions, false expulsions of people from their homes in Sheikh Jarrah, a place in East Jerusalem. So the Jerusalem District Court ruled that the Palestinians have to leave. But the court is part of the process of occupation. The court is part of the occupation. And the settlers are fully backed by the state, taking Palestinians home by home. You've seen settlers leaders on video, I'm sure, saying our policy is to take home by home and take over the complete of Jerusalem. This is settler colonialism. This is Palestinians resisting. And then what we see at the same time, we see protests and solidarity taking place. And in Masjid al-Aqsa, we see the Israeli guards and the Israeli security forces storm Masjid al-Aqsa. They come with their feet into Masjid al-Aqsa. They put stun grenades into Masjid al-Aqsa. They shoot in Masjid al-Aqsa. They beat peaceful worshippers in Masjid al-Aqsa. So we say, hands up al-Aqsa. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. And then what we see on the final night of Ramadan, we see Israel dropping indiscriminate bombs on Gaza. Now remember, Gaza is under siege by land, air and sea. So Palestinians in Gaza, they can't go anywhere. When the bombs are dropping, there is nowhere to go. There is no shelter. So bombs are dropping indiscriminately on families. Over the last 2 days, I think I've seen 3 families completely gone. Completely killed. A full-on genocide. And yet, we see buildings obviously destroyed, news agencies, schools. The whole destruction of Gaza is taking place. Yes, there were 150,000 people on the streets of London yesterday, but for me, that does not reflect the brutality that we're seeing. So next Saturday, we've called for a national demonstration. A national demonstration when everyone comes on the streets of London to show solidarity with the Palestinian people. Because as one of the brothers said before, when I spoke to people in Gaza yesterday and this morning, they said, we saw you on the streets of London and we knew we are not alone. For that reason alone, I'm imploring every one of you to come back, not just yourselves, with your friends and your families. Come down in your coaches, all of us together to show the Palestinians they are not alone. Are the Palestinians alone? Are they alone? Are we with them? Are we with them? Are we going to come next Saturday? Oh, there's a bit of confusion in that one. Now, we're outside 10 Downing Street, where Johnson sits. What we need to understand, we need to utilize our power. I think one of the brothers was saying about maybe we're not so powerful, maybe we can be, etc. We are powerful. Believe me. Within a week, 170,000 plus emails were sent to MPs, and MPs are telling me, that's part of my role, that their inboxes were flooded by you guys. And they were releasing statements. They were forced to release statements, not because they wanted to, because you made them. Every single one of you here made them. The problem is we only do it every now and then. We don't all do it all the time, right? We apply that pressure, they have to release the statements. The statements of condemnation. But let me tell you, it's not time for condemnations. It's time for sanctions on Israel. I want us sanctions on Israel. Sanctions on. Sanctions on. Sanctions on. And I built chanting before I go. Have I got time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Free, free, free, free, free, free. Hands up in the air, put your fist in the air. Someone take a shot. In solidarity with the brothers and sisters in Palestine. Free, free, free, free, free, free, free, free. I'll see you next Saturday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Let me repeat a few words of a father last night. What happened was that my wife and our kids went to our brother's house to celebrate Eid. They wore their newly bought Eid outfits with my innocent children. While they were still in my uncle's house, the house got bombed. They hit the house without any kind of warning. I lost my wife. I thank God that she's in a better place. Our eldest son, Suhaib, 14. And my son, Abdul Rahman, he's 8. I had one of my kids in the ICU, Osama, he's 5. Almost 6, he's gone now. And I thank God that he's in a better place now. I thank God that he's in a better place now. I'm grateful. I thank God. I thank God. I thank God. I have Omar, 5 months old. I thank God that he was found alive. I still have Omar. I have another son, Yahya. He's 11 and he's still missing. He's still missing. And now, let me tell you what the Prime Minister is saying. There is no place for anti-Semitism in our society. I stand with Britain's Jews who should not have to endure the type of racism that we have seen today. Let me tell you what Keir Starmer said, the leader of the opposition. Utterly disgusting. Anti-Semitism, misogyny and hate have no place in our streets, in our society. There must be consequences. After reading and after telling you about the statement of the father who lost his entire family, what have you lost? What have you lost? The father, after losing his entire family, is praising God. What have you lost? Big man, you're going to go to work tomorrow. You're going to drive your nice car back home. You've heard what the Prime Minister has said. We were hoping that the Prime Minister would say, my support is with the Palestinians. Instead, he's turned around and said that no such space for racism in our society. We were hoping that Keir Starmer would turn around and pledge his support. Instead, he's calling an investigation into anti-Semitism. Rightly so. How can we call the Israeli forces that are massacring Palestinians racist when we ourselves are demonstrating nothing less and nothing more than racism? How? How are you representing Palestinians? How are we to get the voices of Parliament if this is our behavior and actions? If Palestine is bombed further, we have a responsibility. You can't wear Palestinian flags on your faces and hold them and represent them like this. If you lost your family, your entire family, you'd be on fire and you'll do what it takes to get them justice. Do you think you're getting the Palestinians justice? I condemn, wallahi, I condemn all form of racism. I condemn all form of racism. I condemn anti-Semitism. I condemn anti-Semitism. And Boris Johnson can hear this. Keir Starmer can hear this. I condemn anti-Semitism. I condemn the killing of Israeli children. I condemn the killing of Palestinian children. I'm here for Palestine. I'm here for the children of Palestine. I remained anonymous because it was about the cause. And you know what? Have the rest. Do what you want. Strike me, kill me, hit me. But when I heard what I heard from the father of them Palestinians, and then what I heard from the Prime Minister's office, and what I heard from the leader of the opposition, unfortunately, I cannot associate myself with anti-Semitism.
Right, people, let's have your attention. Regardless of what's happened there, I don't know. We'll deal with that later. I'm going to make it simply clear to you guys, yeah? As one of the main organizers, it's simply clear. We're here today for one maqsad and one maqsad only. And that's to stand shoulder to shoulder in solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters. That's what we're here for, nothing else. Right now, no politics. Take the politics out the window. Take everything out the window, right? You're here for one maqsad, yeah? Please. Everyone needs to keep respectful and mindful. You know what? I don't know what's happened there. We're gonna leave that for time being. Please, I request you guys to remain calm and start the chanting, please. Free, free Palestine! You came here today for one reason. Yes, there's hiccups. I'm gonna say it. There's hiccups along this program. There has been idiots, yeah? I will say openly. There's been idiots who have caused some kind of anti-social behavior. I don't know what they've been doing, yeah? But come on. If you come here for the right reasons, yeah? If you come here for the right intentions, I told you guys from day one, this is not a party we're attending. It's not someone's barat or wedding. I'm making it clear. We're here today because of the total and brutality that's happening in Palestine. You're standing for your brothers and sisters of Palestine. That's why you're here today. So please be respectful of that. Today is not about politics. I made it clear from day one. Regardless of politics, regardless of your religious background, don't matter if you're black, white, purple, pink or blue. We couldn't care less whether you're Sunni, Shia, whatever you may be. I'm being frank and honest. It's about the Muslim Ummah coming together united. This is the problem. This is why we're having the issues we are facing, because we can't be united. That's the actual truth of it. Too many issues, too many politics. F the politics, yeah? We are the people, yeah? We're here for the Palestinians. So I want you guys to raise your voice for the Palestinians. Speak for the Palestinians. We're here today, united, yeah, shoulder to shoulder. Every single one of you has to be here for the right intentions. And that's for our Palestinian brothers that are suffering in Palestine. So make some noise. Free, free Palestine! Free, free! Free, free!
Şimdi Kudüs üzerinden tüm Orta Doğu'yu, tüm Müslümanları hedef alan yeni bir saldırı başladı. Bu konuda da ilk adımları çarşamba günü büyük ölçekte attık. İnşallah devamını da getireceğiz. Şunu iyi biliyorum. Kudüs giderse Medine'yi koruyamayız. Medine giderse Mekke'yi koruyamayız. Mekke giderse Kabe'yi de kaybederiz. Unutmayınız, Kudüs demek İstanbul demektir, İslamabad demektir, Jakarta demektir, Medine demek Kahire demektir, Şam demek Bağdat demektir. Kabe demek tüm Müslümanlar olarak hepimizin şerefi, namusu, onuru, haysiyeti, varlık gayesi demek. Biz bunların hiçbirinden vazgeçemeyiz. Allah'ın emrine ve icdadın emanetine sahip çıkmak için ne gerekiyorsa bunu yapacağız.
एरिया का मालिक मैं बनूंगा ना, जहाँ अकेला चला जाऊंगा कोई है ही नहीं। तो आदम ने जब धरती पे कदम रखा तो कोई दूसरा आदमी था ही नहीं, और हिंदुस्तान में कदम रखकर उन्होंने बता दिया कि ये आदम की जागीर है और हम आदम की औलाद हैं। कान खोल के सुन लो, हम भारत में शराब नहीं, ये मेरे बाबा की आबादी है।
Free, free! Sister Safina from Birmingham is going to join us. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free!
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Firstly, I said Assalamu alaikum. That means peace. We all come here today with a voice, so I'd like a salam back, please, first of all. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you. So, I've come here today to just say a quick few words. I've come from Birmingham. I never do speeches like this. But at the end of the day, if we can't stand here today and use our voice to make a change, make a stand, make a statement, what's the point? So, I'm shitting my bricks, I'll be honest with you, but that's fine, we'll do it. So, you all know this is 73 years of the Nakba, 73 years of oppression, 73 years of torture, 73 years of modern day apartheid happening now in 2021. And this is the reason why I am standing here today, is because I watched a video on social media, and the video was basically of an Israeli making a statement. He was asked a question by a journalist on media, on live television. What should happen? How are you guys dealing with it? And do you know what his response was? His response was, I think we should just carpet bomb all the Palestinians. Let's just carpet bomb them all and get rid of them. Now, if we as Muslims were to ever say the word bomb, what would happen? What exactly would happen? We would be labelled as terrorists. We would be labelled as God knows what. So why is it fair? Why the double standards of one state, one illegal state with illegal settlements in Palestine, which has been taken off the map? Why is it okay for them to say such statements and such words? We have to be their voice. We have to stand up for them. Today I also watched another video of a father in a wheelchair. He has obviously wounds from the wreckage, the bombardment of what's going on. And do you know what was brought to him? Shall I tell you what was brought to him? I'm sure you've seen this video, and if you haven't, jump onto my Instagram because I've uploaded it. He was brought to him the body of his 6-year-old son in the coffin. He was brought to him the body of his 6-year-old son, and he was just holding his boy, and he was just crying his eyes out. I've got 5 children, and if someone brought to me my child, someone brought to you your child, how would you feel? How many parents are there? Give me a wave. How many parents are in the crowd? How many fathers? If you were a father and you were brought your child, how would you feel? So please, you need to use your voice. We have been given freedom of speech. This so-called freedom of speech has to be used wisely. It has to be used correctly on platforms like this. And this, is it One Vision? One Vision by Raz, who created this. What an amazing platform to do something today, make a change. And it can't just happen today. It must continue today, tomorrow, the next day, the week, the year, because the Nakba hasn't stopped. Like the previous brother said, this Nakba has not stopped. It's going to continue. We are humans, whether we are any race, color, religion, whatever we are, we're humans. We must stand side by side. And Islam teaches us that if your brother is dying, we die with them. If they are bleeding, we bleed with them. If they are hurting, we hurt with them. So why are we quiet? We must not stay quiet. We must be their voice. This is modern day apartheid.
If you have
this
izzat,
is
shahrat
illegal
al-baqar,
occupation.
humble yourself.
This is illegal.
For indeed the
I
very
don't
same
recognize
earth
the
that you
illegal
walk
state of
upon
Israel. Do
is
you
the very
recognize
same
the
earth
illegal
that you'll
state
be
of
buried
Israel?
under. Today
We
you're walking on
recognize
this earth.
Palestine.
Tomorrow you'll be
Free,
buried under
free.
this earth. Why so much arrogance? Why so much pride in the things that we do? Don't be arrogant. Don't be full of pride. Humble yourself. For indeed Allah loves those who humble themselves. Allah loves those who are ajiz, who are miskin.
Right, before we get our next and almost final guest onto the stage.
Don't be arrogant. Don't be full of pride. Don't be that person who is full of takabbur. If you have mal and dawlat, humble yourself. If you have knowledge, humble yourself. If you have izzat, shahrat al-baqar, humble yourself. For indeed the very same earth that you walk upon
as well. We are here today to represent and stand for our brothers and sisters of Palestine. We condemn what is happening right now to our Palestinian brothers and sisters. So please, people, start the chanting and make some noise. That's what I want you guys to do. Simple thing. Before my next guest comes on, we want you guys, forget the politics. I said it before. We're not politicians, neither am I. Yeah? I'm here today for one reason only. And that's for the brothers and sisters of Palestine. No other agenda behind it. Simple and plain. And you guys are the same. So please, Palestine.
They do not take military action against Israel. But they only imprison Muslims, beat
From the river to the sea.
and oppress Muslims.
The Palestinians.
What the meeting was about was an area in East Jerusalem known as the Sheikh Jarrah. There is an area known as the Sheikh Jarrah.
Stand shoulder to shoulder, and they want to hear you guys make some noise. So please, for the Palestinians that have been suffering for
numerous dozens of families from the historical areas, evacuate them, remove them from the areas, and then bring Israeli settlers into those areas to occupy East Jerusalem. Because what has happened over time, from the early 1900s, Israeli settlers, Jews from Europe, Europeans, entered the Middle East. Remember, even the term Middle East is a term that was made up in the early 1900s. Before that, they would refer to the Middle East as Near East. Those Israeli settlers entered in those areas, the coastline of what is today known as Israel. And they set up a city known as Tel Aviv, making that farming area, and any land in Palestine which was not farmed, they farmed the land. They extended their borders after the 1917 Balfour Declaration, and every year they extend their border.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. Today, thousands have gathered outside of 10 Downing Street, which houses the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, England, and we are here to peacefully demonstrate and protest against the war crimes, against the oppression, against the illegal occupation, against the injustices that have been carried out by the state of Israel on the innocent people, the innocent Palestinians. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam said, "La tazalu ta'ifatun min ummati zahirina 'ala al-haqqi wa li'uduwwihim qahirin la yadurruhum man khalafahum." Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, "There shall always remain a group within my nation, my people, who will stand in resilience in the face of injustice, in the face of oppression. Nothing shall harm them as long as they oppose this injustice and oppression." The companions asked, "Aynahum ya Rasulullah, where are they?" And the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam said, بِبَيْتِ الْمَقْدَسِ وَأَقْنَافِ بَيْتِ الْمَقْدِسِ, that you will find this group of people. They will be in Jerusalem and they will be in the surrounding areas of Jerusalem. My brothers and sisters, what is happening right now is not the first time that we have seen this. In 2014 in Gaza, over 2,000 Muslims were shaheed after constant day and night bombing upon the innocent people. I've got a question to ask everyone. What has that young child or baby done that he deserved to be bombed? What did that woman do that she was deserving to be bombed? What have those men done who are earning an innocent living that they deserve to have bombs thrown upon them? If I ask you a question, all of you are standing here for the Palestinians in solidarity with them. We raise our voices for the Palestinian people. This is a nation that has been persecuted, oppressed, where injustice has been taken place against them for the best part of 80 years. When we look at the history of Gaza, which is on the borders of Egypt, Gaza has shrinked over time and now spans over 139 miles squared radius. 139 miles squared radius is what houses 2 million people from the Gazan population. 2 million people live in a small strip. They have no army. They have no air force. The Gazan people don't have on the ground army, nor an air force, nor a navy. Yet only a week ago, the Israeli government ordered 9,000 troops to go onto the borders of Gaza. The Israeli government ordered their firing jet, the fire jets, to constantly bomb the innocent people of Gaza. At this current moment in time, 183 shuhada have been recorded. Buildings have been destroyed into rubble. Who is providing this very apartheid government, this very state of terrorism, arms and weapons to fight and bomb these people? The reality is, it's in these powers of corridor, these corridors of power. It is in these corridors of power, those members that we elect in the year 2014 till 2018, the British government supplied 316 million worth of weapons to the Israeli regime. These are weapons that are going to be thrown on whom? Who are they going to bomb? innocent people who went to pray their salah in Masjid al-Aqsa. It was the 25th night of Ramadan Kareem, possibly Laylatul Qadr. There were tens and hundreds of thousands who lined to worship Allah Almighty on this blessed night. And we've seen the Israeli soldiers storm, not for the first time. This has happened before, and believe you me, it will happen again. Not for the first time did they storm into Masjid al-Aqsa. There were old men panicking. There were old men, young men, standing in the face of oppression and injustice, zulm. Allah Almighty has ordered mankind to stand against injustice and oppression. It is our duty to exercise our civil rights. It is our duty to exercise our democratic rights, our human rights, to raise our voices for those who are being persecuted, who are being oppressed, and injustice is taking place against them in the state, in the land of Palestine. How would you feel if someone walked into 10 that you can no longer go there? Mr. Boris Johnson, out. This land and house does not belong to you. How would you feel if someone went into your home in Woking, in Oldham, in Birmingham, in Bradford? They walked into your house and they said, this is not your house no more. An illegal apartheid, an illegal settlement where these people are aiming and objecting and trying their very utmost to take out innocent Palestinians, to displace them. At this moment in time, there are 7 million Palestinian refugees around the entire world. 73 years ago to the date yesterday, the Nakba took place. The great catastrophe took place. What was that catastrophe? When the UN were promoting a two-state policy, when the British government remained silent, when the American government remained silent, and we've seen at that time that these governments that remain silent, and these governments allow the formation and formulation of the state of Israel. At that time, 750,000 Palestinians had to leave their home. This was their father, their grandfather's home. They had every right to that land. When the Ottomans ruled over the state of Palestine, the Jewish community lived in peace. The Christian community lived in peace with the Palestinian Muslims. There were no wars that we heard of. There was no oppression and injustice. When Europe was in its dark ages, Muslim lands was the safe haven for the Jewish community. Muslim land was the safe haven for the Christian community. Have you ever been to Palestine? Have you ever walked the streets of Jerusalem? 9 times I have visited Palestine. 9 times in 8 years I have walked on the streets of Jerusalem. I have been in Al-Quds al-Qadim, the old Jerusalem, Masjid al-Aqsa. I had the privilege of praying my prayers in a masjid that one who prays one there, Allah Almighty will reward him equivalent to 1,000 prayers. Allahu Akbar. Ya Rasulullah. One masjid has such power that whoever performs salah in that masjid, it will be equal to the reward of 1,000 prayers. Your local masjid does not offer you that. The way Masjid al-Aqsa Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said about this very masjid, Allah Almighty took the name of the furthest mosque in Al-Quran Al-Kareem when He said, pure is he who took his servant in a very small part of the night from Mecca in Saudi Arabia, the Hijazi Peninsula, all the way to Jerusalem, Masjid Al-Aqsa, whose surroundings we have blessed. The olive trees are blessed. The water is blessed. And most certainly the people of Al-Aqsa and Jerusalem are blessed.
Nara Takbir!
Allahu Akbar.
Nara Risalat!
Masjid Al-Aqsa, the first Qibla of the Muslims. For 16 months, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, he led the community of the companions, the prayers facing towards Masjid Al-Aqsa. Masjid Al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, it is the second masjid to have ever been built on earth, 40 years after Masjid Al-Haram in Mecca. Masjid Al-Aqsa is that masjid that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, لا تشد الرحال إلا إلى ثلاثة مساجد. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, you mustn't travel except to 3 mosques. Masjid Al-Haram, Masjid Al-Nabawi, Masjid Al-Aqsa.
Nara Risalat! Nara Risalat! Nara Risalat!
Masjid Al-Aqsa, the third holiest masjid for the entire Muslim Ummah, for the Muslim nation, for 1.8 billion Muslims around the world. Masjid Al-Aqsa is the third holiest masjid for me and you. Yet today, we have forgotten, we have neglected Masjid Al-Aqsa. But when the people of Gaza switch on their social media, when the people of Palestine switch on their social media and they see hundreds of thousands protesting in Sydney, Australia, they see thousands in the streets of Berlin, Germany, they see thousands in the streets of Paris, France, they see thousands in the streets of New York, America, they see thousands, hundreds of thousands lining up in the streets of central London with one intention, one objective: free Palestine. Free Palestine. All we ask is that you give the Palestinian people the rights that they deserve. They are born in that land, yet they are not given equal rights as any Israeli citizen. If you ever been to Masjid Al-Aqsa, when you land in Tel Aviv airport, they make Palestinians go one side, they make the Israelis go another side. Why this difference? Where's the equal rights gone for the Palestinian people? Why can't they have the same education as the Israelis that get there in Tel Aviv University? Why can't they have their own passport? Or instead they are given green cards because they're from the West Bank. They're given blue cards because they're from Jerusalem. There's one wall. We talk about apartheid. We talk about justice. You are the same people. When Black Lives Matter movement started, George Floyd was killed mercilessly on the streets of America. Police brutality at its peak. At that time, all the Ummah, all the people stood up and said, what is this about black people? Give black people the rights they deserve. Malcolm X, Shabazz Malik, he activisted and he did activist work all his life that he was assassinated. Then we see the likes of Martin Luther King, their activist work to give civil rights movements, that the black man is equal to the rest of us. He's not beneath us. There is no African Anglo slave trade that needs to go on. When it came to that, we all came out in our thousands, hundreds of thousands. Where's the rest of the United Kingdom? When the European Super League was about to be formed by the elite football clubs, all football supporters around the world spoke out and condemned it. Gary Neville spoke out. Rio Ferdinand spoke out. So many of them spoke out. The power with the people was such that the European Super League, every team was guaranteed a minimum of 450 million to join that Super League. But there was so much power within the people that they were able to abolish the Super League. Where's that very same power gone? Amongst our people, it isn't about being a Bangladeshi Muslim. It isn't being a Pathan Muslim. It isn't about a Pakistani Muslim. It isn't about Somalian Muslims. It doesn't matter what race you are. As long as you read the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, you have every right to stand against injustice. Every right to stand up against oppression. It is your duty, an obligation upon me and you, that we stand in these streets and we protest and demonstrate, and we ask the government that you must stop these arms deals with Israel. We ask the American government, you need to stop sending 3.8 billion worth of donations to the illegal state of Israel. It is our duty to know these facts, to speak about them and educate our people. It ain't about coming out here in our big fancy cars, revving them, causing noise pollution, causing disruption. That's not what Palestine needs. Palestinians don't need our cars to be revved. Palestinians don't need me and you to come out in this rain if we miss our prayers. What is more powerful than raising your hands and asking Allah in the middle of the night? When's the last time you read the Tahajjud for the Palestinians? When's the last time you did Qiyamul Layl for the Palestinians? Is there no greater dua? A dua, a prayer that will never miss its target. The prayer and dua made at the time of the Tahajjud, Qiyamul Layl. Yet we're all out in our numbers, and so we should be. But more needs to be done, my brothers and sisters. It is not enough that when Gaza and Al-Aqsa are getting bombed and attacked, that we come out in our tens of thousands. We need to go back to our communities, and we need to summon the members of parliaments in our communities. We need to say, what is your foreign policy in relation to Kashmir? What is your foreign policy in relation to Palestine? What will you do for the innocent, oppressed people around the world? You have every right, before you give your vote, to read the constitution of that party that you vote for, the people that you bring into power, that make these decisions. You have every right to study and learn. And if you feel that these people will do injustice against the innocent people that are suffering around the world, be it the black people, be it the farmers in India, be it the Kashmiri Muslims, be it the Palestinian Muslims, be it the Syrian and Yemeni Muslims. How much has this government supplied to the Saudi Arabian government to bomb Muslims in Yemen? It is our duty to understand that we are the people that chose these people to be in power. It is our duty to remove these people. We need to create awareness amongst non-Muslims and make them understand that if someone walked into your house and took your house from you, yet it was registered on the land registry, at that time, you have every right to that key. You are the rightful legal owner of that property. And all of a sudden, somebody walks in and says, it's time to move. You need to go to another country. You go to Jordan, you go to Egypt. Get out of Bradford and go to Leeds. Get out of London and go to Luton. At that time, would you accept this? Would you say this is right? Never. How can you take what isn't yours? And then the whole world remains silent. When the Nakba took place, 700,000 displaced, 750,000 had nowhere to go. And what were we doing at that time? Where was the Muslim world at that time? We have every duty to summon and hold account the Muslim leaders around the world. A simple tweet ain't gonna change the state of this Muslim Ummah. We need to wake up, wake our leaders up, wake our nations up, and make them realize that you want a free Palestine. Then you must understand what's happened, the injustice that has taken place. You must learn, you must study, you must read the history, and then you need to stand up and speak. For the Prophet ﷺ said that if you see man ra'a minkum munkiran, if you see wrong happening amongst you, then you should stop it with your hands. And if you can't stop it with your hands, then you must speak out against it. And if you can't speak out against it, then you must hate it in your heart. My brothers and sisters, today we have stood here to speak out against this injustice. I want everyone to repeat with me, free, free Palestine. Louder, free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Louder. Let them hear you. I'll tell you something better. We are law-abiding citizens. This is a peaceful protest and demonstration where we speak in favor and in defense of those innocent young children that were bombed in this past week. It is our duty to raise our voices for those who have no voice to be risen. My brothers and sisters, we have stood out in the rain for the Palestinian people. Do you think Allah Almighty is going to waste your effort? Do you think Allah Almighty is going to waste the money that you spent to come here? No. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you are. The fact that you've got it in your heart to come out and speak for the Palestinian people. But we need to make sure that we're heard. And I'm going to read something. And I want everyone, I want all of the corridors of power to hear that the greatest and most powerful slogan in the entire world is none other than the kalima tayyiba, La ilaha illallah. And I want everyone to read with me, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. Louder. My brothers and sisters, we unite under La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah as an ummah. We go back to the sunnah of Rasulullah salatu wassalam. We have neglected the Quran and we have found the ummah in this state. The great Iqbal, the poet of the East, he said, "Wa muazzaz the zamane mein Musalman hokar, tum khar hue ek tarik Quran hokar." You know why the Ummah was great in the time of Salahuddin? Do you know why the Ummah was great in the time of Tariq bin Ziyad? Do you know why the Ummah was great under the resistance and the renaissance of Umar al-Mukhtar, Abdul Qadir al-Jazairi? Do you know why the Ummah was great under Umar bin al-Khattab? Because they put the Quran in front of them. They honored the Quran. They respected the Quran. They followed the teachings of the Quran. You know why today Iqbal said, and he said this 100 years ago, he said, you know why today we are persecuted as a nation? You know why divide and rule has taken place? Because me, you, every one of us, sadly have neglected the Quran. You go to the Palestinian people, you see them in Masjid al-Aqsa, they will have the Quran opened. They will recite the Quran. They will read the Quran knowing possibly a bomb could be sent upon me. But read the kalima knowing that possibly a bomb would be thrown, a bullet would be fired at me. These people have so much heart, so much courage, so much bravery. I have witnessed with my own eyes brutality of the Israeli police against innocent Muslims. Suhail mentioned, I'll narrate to you a story once. I was walking out of Masjid al-Aqsa. If you've ever been to Jerusalem, you must have all heard of Hashmi Hotel. It is in the old city. And there's a lion that sits there by the name of Sheikh Saleh. Al-Maqdisi al-Malihi. I know Sheikh Saleh. His father recently passed away. Sheikh Saleh and me and 40 other members of our group, Al-Hikam tours, we went out towards Masjid al-Aqsa. We prayed our salah. We were going back to our hotel, Hashmi Hotel. At that time, an Israeli police officer said to Sheikh Saleh, show me your card. He took his card off him and he started causing him problems, grief, hardship, difficulty. These are the people who stand in resilience. These are the ones who are protecting the third holiest masjid. These are the ones who are defending themselves. They are defending themselves against aggression. It is sad that we find leaders of all political parties. I respect Nicola Sturgeon, the first woman of the Scottish government who condemned the attacks of Israel. They didn't mix their words and said that they have the right to defend themselves. No doubt, anyone who is being attacked should defend themselves. But go back to the facts. Who was attacked first? That they were to defend themselves. Israel attacked the Palestinians in Gaza. Israelis attacked. The soldiers of Israel attacked the Muslims worshipping Masjid al-Aqsa. They're the ones who wanted to take out that community in Sheikh Jarrah. It was them who aggressed and made the first move. And then the world condemns Palestinians. How dare they do this? How dare they do this? And we see people saying and talking against the Palestinians in that regard. When Sheikh Saleh and me walked, he said to me, Maulana, go quickly, take the group and go back to the hotel. I said to him, Sheikh Saleh, what do you take me for? You think I'm going to leave you here alone? You're my brother. You're my friend. I love you for the sake of Allah and only for the sake of Allah. I told one of the brothers, you guys go ahead, I'll stay. They took my passport. They said, how do you know each other? He said, you know what, Sheikh Saleh is a man. He'll walk in the streets of Tel Aviv. He'll walk in the streets of West Bank. Young children will run after him knowing this is the man, Sheikh Saleh. They will, and people, those that will watch, the citizens, they'll take a step back knowing there's a lion walking on the streets now. This Sheikh Saleh said to me, go. I said, Sheikh, if these people arrest you, I'm willing to stand by your side. I don't want to be in a position tomorrow, if I'm asked, what did you do with Sheikh Saleh in Palestine? And I turned around and said, I left him behind and I walked on, Ya Allah. This answer will not suffice on the day of judgment. So I stood with him. For 45 minutes they detained us. They didn't allow us to move. Eventually they gave us the passports when they realized, and this is a privilege, that I'm a British citizen. The power of the British passport. They realized this privilege. My brothers, you want to help Masjid al-Aqsa. You want to help Jerusalemites. You want to help the people of Gaza. Go to Jerusalem. Book your tickets and visit the people. Witness firsthand and see what they go through. The persecution, oppression. We buy 1 kilo of chicken for £6. They buy a kilo of chicken for £18. It has tripled the amount of rent they pay. Triple the amount that we pay in this country. This is the injustice. Where's the equal rights gone for the Palestinian people? My brothers and sisters, Jeremy Corbyn, George Galloway exercised their freedom of speech. Today, we have exercised our freedom of speech. We have the right to stand and speak here. We have the right to raise our voices. They cannot silence us. Those who are silenced may be in bed with them. We won't be silenced. We'll continue to speak until our last breath. Why? Because we truly understand the greatness of Masjid al-Aqsa. When Mahdi will rise and summon his army, they will go to Al-Aqsa. When the Prophet Jesus shall return on this land, he will go to Al-Aqsa. When the false Messiah, the Antichrist, will turn up, he will attempt to take over Al-Aqsa. Do you understand the importance of Masjid al-Aqsa? This is what the target will be. And we must stand for Al-Aqsa. We must speak for Al-Aqsa. This is not an issue for Muslims only. Non-Muslims need to raise their voice for the people of Al-Aqsa. The black community, the white community, I respect and salute Zayn Malik, Bella Hadid. They have spoke out for the Palestinian people. Sadly, we can't say the same about certain people. Simply writing a letter is not enough. You must go back to your communities and write letters to your members of parliament and say, when the people of Gaza were being bombed, what did you do? What did you say about these people? What were you doing at that time? For this reason, my brothers and sisters, we have work to do. We must continue this. Next Saturday at 12 p.m. Yesterday, on social media. Social media is powerful. Social media is powerful. They can bomb that tower which housed those media outlets and channels in Gaza to silence the media, so it does not show it doesn't show the war crimes of these people. But the truth and reality is, my brothers, they cannot silence, they can censor our accounts as much as they want. But we will speak the truth. We will continue to raise our voices. My brothers and sisters, we need to continue this mission. Yesterday marked 73 years of the Nakba. 150,000 people marched from Marble Arch all the way to the Israeli embassy. Next Saturday, there will be another demonstration and march. And we will have, insha'Allah, bi'idhnillah, 200, 300, 400. My brothers, what a day it would be if we can go and create awareness. My sisters, and 1 million people march in these streets for the Palestinian people. Can we do this, yes or no? Will we do this, yes or no? It is our duty that we don't stop here. You came today, you return next week. You stand with the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, with Friends of Al-Aqsa. You stand with One Vision and the rest of us. We are all campaigning for the same goal. We want a free Palestine. We want equal rights for every Palestinian. They cannot be inferior and third-class citizens, that they will be lower than the rest. We all talk about equal rights. The LGBTQ community, everyone deserves these rights. What about the Palestinian people? Don't they deserve equal rights? Can't their voice be heard? My brothers, we must reach out to the Muslim world. We must reach out to our Muslim members of parliament and non-Muslim. It was good to see a Tory member of parliament, the first one that I seen tweet and speak out against the genocide taking place in Gaza. We have a lot of work to do. I know it's raining. I've got an umbrella, some of you have, but it's not about the rain. Today, it's raining on me and you here on Downing Street. It's been raining bombs for 7 nights in Gaza. Have you seen that man, Muhammad al-Hadidi? Have you seen his video? Muhammad al-Hadidi is crying in the streets. 4 children and his wife were bombed. Only he and his daughter survived. Where's our heart gone? Doesn't our heart move? Our hearts moved that we're here today. Our hearts moved that we were there yesterday. Our hearts moved that we'll be there next week. And we will continue to stand in solidarity with the Muslims in Palestine who are being persecuted. They deserve the same freedom of speech, the same freedom of rights that me and you are afforded here in this country. We must ask our government. We must ask the leaders of our government. Don't just condemn what's happening, but you must condemn outright the apartheid, the genocide, the innocent killing of children. And don't turn around and give me this nonsense that this was collateral damage. This is not collateral damage. These are innocent people. Those kids did nothing on the beachfront of Gaza that their grandparents and parents stood to read the Salatul Janazah, their funeral prayers. What did they deserve? What did they do at that time? This is why we stand in solidarity. We will continue to raise our voice. For us, it may be the beginning. For those who have continued, we will continue to support them. And inshallah, we believe that Allah Almighty will not reject our prayers. The greatest tool that Allah has given me and you is the power of patience. We must have sabr. We mustn't resort to violence. We mustn't resort to antisocial behavior. We mustn't resort to taking the law into our own hands. We must abide by the law of this country, by the law of this land. We do not go against it. Islam does not preach this. Islam does not teach us to take matters into our own hands. But what we have here is the freedom of press, the freedom of speech, the freedom to exercise our rights. And we will do our utmost to carry out those rights in every way, shape and possible. And we will do this peacefully, and we'll continue to do this until the Palestinian people are given what they deserve. They are given their country back. The people are given their homeland back. And those people deserve this more than me and you. May Allah Almighty accept my attendance, your attendance in this rain. For any dua made when the rain falls upon the people is a dua that is accepted. We must raise our hands and ask Allah that you liberate Palestine. You protect Masjidul Aqsa. We must raise our hands and ask Allah that He continues to shower mercy upon these people. And we stand in the face of injustice and oppression. The greatest resilience is that you speak the truth in the face of tyranny, in the face of tyrants. You speak the truth in the face of injustice. And may Allah Almighty accept this today from each and every one of us. Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, we'll see you next Saturday at the next demonstration. And then we will do it again and again. Even if there's a ceasefire, we must continue to raise awareness. It could be a ceasefire happened 7 years ago. 7 years later, they got bombed again. Ceasefires aren't enough. We need to put action behind these words. And you've got to go back, tell your parents that your solidarity lies with the Muslim Ummah, and it lies with the protection of the Muslim Ummah, and what is in the best interest of this Ummah. May Allah Almighty allow us to do this. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
اللهم صل على النبي الخاتم اللهم صل على المشفع عن السلام اللهم صل على المستعمل في مرضاتك غاية الجهد اللهم صل على نذير أهل الأرض رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود
थे तो आबा वो तुम्हारे ही मगर तुम क्या हो हाथ पर हाथ धरे मुंतज़िर फर्दा हो मनफियत एक है इस कौम की नुकसान भी एक ही सबका नबी दीन भी ईमान भी एक हरम पाक भी अल्लाह भी कुरान भी एक कुछ बड़ी बात थी होते जो मुसलमान भी कल्ब में सोच नहीं रूह में एहसास नहीं कुछ भी पैगाम मोहम्मद का तुम्हें पास नहीं वाइज़ कौम की वो पुख्ता ख्याली न रही, बर्क़ तबई न रही, शोला मकाली न रही। हर मुसलमान रगे बातिल के लिए निश्तर था, उसके आईना हस्ती में अमल जौहर था। जो भरोसा था उसे कुव्वत बाजू पर था। है तुम्हें मौत का डर, उसको खुदा का डर था। बाप का इल्म न बेटे को अगर असबर हो, फिर पिसर काबिले मीरा से पिदर क्यों कर हो। हर कोई मस्ते मए ज़ौक़ तनासानी है। तुम मुसलमान हो, ये अंदाज़ मुसलमानी है। हैदरी फ़क्र है, नए दौलत उस्मानी है। तुमको असलाफ से क्या निस्बत रूहानी है। वो ज़माने में मुअज़्ज़ज़ थे मुसलमान होकर, और तुम खार हुए तारे के कुरान हो।